And so it makes sense that by upregulating those and rejuvenating your mitochondria in your brain, you're going to do better. One of the things that we also talk about is sort of improvement in the cardiovascular biomarkers with Urolithin A and heart health. Can you talk about its role in heart health?
Yeah, so we just published a paper in iScience, and this was again in models. So this is not a randomized clinical trial, but these were models of heart failure. So the first thing our group of very brilliant mitochondrial scientists did is they actually looked at cardiac biopsies of people who had heart failure or had died of heart degeneration and with the aging process. And again, the signature, the hallmark signature they picked up in the heart was poor mitochondrial health. And so then we went into models of heart failure, acute and chronic, and we found that giving Mitopure supplementation in these models reversed a lot of this cardiac damage by improving mitochondrial health. And in the humans trials, we haven't done a trial in heart failure, for example, but in older adults, for example, we have focused on a class of molecules called the ceramides. Now, ceramides, if your heart cells are not performing well, you'll accumulate a lot of these ceramides that are like mitochondrial toxins, essentially. So what we see is actually in all our trials, ceramide plasma levels of ceramides are going down. And so there's the Mayo Clinic that has now a score of ceramides that allows you to predict the prognosis of cardiovascular health. So now we are looking in that direction of how we can look at long-term cardiovascular health. But we do know things like VO2 improve with Mitopure, which is also cardiovascular health. So I think we just need to put, research is 2 words, re-research. So every small step you have to keep building on the journey.
Right. That's true. Re-research. I never thought of that. There's a whole field like now of metabolic psychiatry, but there's also a field of metabolic cardiology, which has not really been part of traditional cardiology. There's a cardiologist named Steven Sinatra, who is an old school nutritional doctor who I knew and who I know is quite amazing. And he taught me a lot about metabolic cardiology. So when I have heart failure patients, I will give them a mitochondrial cocktail of supplements, including CoQ10, carnitine, creatine, ribose, lipoic acid, N-acetylcysteine, the B vitamins. And basically what happens is quite remarkable. They prove their cardiac function by objective metrics like what we call ejection fraction, which how much your heart can pump out with each pump of blood and each beat. That's a direct measure of your how well your heart's functioning. And so I'd be very curious about like you looking at ejection fractions and urolithin A and how that works. But you can't really just do one thing. Like people are like, oh, I'm just going to take this medicine or this supplement and I'm not going to exercise or eat well. Because if you're eating a lot of sugar and you're not exercising, you might get some benefit, but not really. You got to combine it with everything else in a healthy lifestyle.